Hi, my name is Sophie Comas. I'm a freelance marketing consultant from Remu Marketing, and today I wanted to talk to you about a marketing strategy. Your marketing strategy defines the activity that you wish to take with your marketing. It defines the content you want to talk about, and ultimately it gives you a roadmap to help you achieve your business ambitions. So, what are the kind of things that we need to consider when we're thinking about our marketing strategy? Well, we often use a theory called the 4Ps of marketing, which looks at price, product, place, and promotion. And then more latterly, with the increase in service-based industries, people have also extended those out to the 7Ps. So that also includes people, processes, and physicality as well. So the people and processes are fairly obvious, but the physical audience also considers the impression that you might have. So if, for example, you're a lawyer, then perhaps you might want an office that reflects your product and industry. So what I want to talk to you about today are the kind of 5 key things that we really want to focus on when we're building our marketing strategy. There are other things, so things like competitors and the environment and the general business landscape are all things that we need to consider. But the key things are we need to define our business objectives, we need to look at our target audience, we need to think about the content that we're going to talk about and how we're going to bring all of our communications together. We then want to think about our routes to market. And then the last point that I want to cover today is thinking about how we assess the success of our marketing activity. So the first thing, which is really important, we want to define our business objectives, and this should generally take the lead from our business plan. So when we're thinking about, okay, what does the organisation wish to achieve over the next 12 months? So is it that perhaps we want to double our turnover, or do we want to launch a new product to market? Being clear on what these objectives are is really important, as it will ultimately guide the focus and where we invest our marketing efforts. It's really important that we make those objectives SMART. So by that, I mean specific, measured, achievable, realistic, and timed. For some reason, I always need to count those off on my hand. I'm not entirely sure why. But it's not enough just to say, oh, we want to increase business over the next 12 months. We need to be specific. So we need to say, we would like to increase our turnover by 100,000. And we're going to do that by launching a new product to market and putting dates and milestones and steps within that. Generally, I would expect to have about 5 or 6 smart marketing objectives. And often with small businesses, especially with a solopreneur, I would also want to encourage you to include a well-being objective in there, because it can be really hard to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. So once we've defined our business objectives, we want to then think about who's our target audience. So if we're launching a new product and service, is it the same audience that we have already, or are we looking to target a different audience? When we're defining our target audience, we want to think about the demographics of where do they live, how old are they male, female, all of that kind of good stuff. We then want to include their dreams and aspirations. So what is it that we're helping them to fulfill? What are we helping them to realize? We then want to, importantly, understand and consider their pain points. So what are the challenges that we really solve for them? Because ultimately that will then start to inform the kind of messaging and content that we share as part of that. And then the final point is to think about anything else. So what hobbies do they have? What do they do at the weekends? Do they have a family? How do they spend their spare time? And the reason why that's important is it might give us ideas as to how we can connect with our audience. So whether that's through content messaging that we share, whether that's using particular media. So for example, if our audience maybe goes to the gym a lot, then there may be opportunities with the local gym to promote our business. So the next thing, which kind of brings a lot of our messaging together and our content together, is to think of our content strategy. So what are the need states that our target audience have across the next 12 months? So a great example of that is as we go into January, a lot of people kind of go, okay, post the festivities of Christmas, how do we reset? What do we want to do differently this year? Do we want to start a new exercise regime? Do we want to learn something new? As individuals, that's how we feel. And as business owners, we often see that reflected as well. So as we head into the new year, we would very much start to think about focusing on planning, on realizing new ambitions for the year ahead. So it's just plotting that out over a 12-month period to make sure that we're targeting and resonating with our customers at key times across the year. Other kind of ideas might be that we have mental health awareness month and week in May. We've got environmental week in June. We've got September where we've got that kind of back to school feeling. And then kind of around November, December time, we might have kind of end of year performance reviews or starting to plan for the year ahead. So by understanding our business goals, understanding our customers, making kind of planning and plotting out our content becomes a lot easier. So once we know what we're doing, who we're talking to, what we're going to talk to them about, the next thing is to think about how we connect with them and routes to market. And lots of different media have different purpose and a different way of fulfilling those ambitions. So we want to start by creating our marketing foundations. So within that, we might include building a website, having a regular blog where we're sharing kind of current thoughts and ideas with our audience, answering the questions that they have at that particular time. We might then look at email marketing. Social media plays an important part of that, and potentially networking. So once you've got those kind of core foundations in place, where you're in the best position to harvest any inquiry and to harvest any potential opportunities, we would then look to investing other media. So those kind of things might include podcasts, they might include PR activity, so trying to encourage us to connect with local radio stations or TV stations for interviews, and that's where a press release and creating a brand story is really important around that time. We might also consider things like digital media advertising, so Google AdWords, perhaps boosting social media posts on Facebook and Instagram. All of these kind of activities will depend upon the budget which is available, and also ultimately the objectives that we've set ourselves earlier on as part of the process as well. The final thing which is really important to consider with your marketing strategy is how we're going to assess the success of what we're doing. So we're really lucky in today's digital workplace that we have lots of ways that we can instantly tell if something is working or not. So ideas might be looking at the website. So what are your visitor figures? What is the revenue that any activity is generating off the back of that? Ultimately, sales, if you're perhaps a more service-based industry, will begin to give you an indication as well as to how things are performing. If you're going towards more brand activity, then that can be more tricky to track. But things like website visitor figure spikes will be really important. We've then got social media, and there's some really instant ways in which we can track if something is performing. So we've obviously got likes and comments and shares, but then don't forget those lurkers in the background can also be equally as important. And also depending upon the sensitivity of your business, that that might be where your measurement is. So if perhaps you're a lifestyle coach, people may not want to share the fact that perhaps they're wanting some help moving forward. So perhaps they may not like and comment in the open space, but they might contact you privately. So we thought about social media, we thought about email open, click-through rates, and obviously if you can, getting that tracking that journey through to booking. We've got website visitor figures, and then obviously the final thing is sales. So it's really important to put whatever metrics in place at the beginning of any marketing activity so that you can track performance throughout the duration of campaign. Simply do more of what works, and obviously if things aren't working, then looking at why perhaps the messaging needs to change, perhaps the timing isn't quite right, and then adjusting things accordingly. So it's really important, in summary, for business of any size, whether you're a small business, a solopreneur, or a larger corporation, to create your marketing strategy and your tactical plan as to how you're going to achieve the business objectives through your marketing activity that you set for your organization. And today we've touched on a very few key points that we need to include within that process. So that's looking at your business objectives, your smart business objectives, looking at your target audience, looking at the content and the messaging you're going to share, looking at the media selection, and finally tracking our results. So I wish you lots of luck. And of course, if I can help, my name's Sophie Comas from Rumu Marketing. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks very much.